And this deed, requiring as it does infinite power and infinite wisdom, can only be his deed. Yes, blind and stray, disorderly and unconscious, aimless, aggressive, and anarchic forces, nature and causality, cannot have anything to do with this most sensitive balance, this most skillful art, this most wise scheme. They cannot even stretch out their hands toward it. It falls to them only to be employed through the dominical command as passive objects, as curtain holders. Just like the 3 points proving divine unity contained in the 3 truths indicated in the 3 verses, the countless manifestations and workings of infinite dominical deeds attest unanimously to the unity of a single One in unity, the all-glorious One. The first truth, the truth of opening. That is, the opening up from a single simple substance of innumerable varied and separate forms, together, everywhere, in a single instant and by a single deed, through the manifestation of the name of the opener. Yes, in the same way that God's creative power has opened up innumerable beings like flowers in the garden of the cosmos, and endowed each with an orderly form and distinct identity. Through the manifestation of the name of Opener, so too, although in more miraculous fashion, he has given to the 400,000 species of animate beings in the garden of the earth each its symmetrical, adorned, and distinct form. He creates you in the wombs of your mothers, creation after creation, in 3 darknesses. That is God, your sustainer. His is the sovereignty. There is no God other than He. Where then will you turn? Naught is hidden from God, neither on earth nor in the heavens. He it is who forms you in the wombs as He wills. There is no God but He, the mighty, the wise. As these 2 verses indicate, the strongest proof of divine unity and the most remarkable miracle of divine power is God's opening up of forms. Because the opening of forms is repeatedly established and expounded in different ways elsewhere in the risale-i, and particularly in the 6th and 7th degrees of the 1st chapter of the 2nd station of this treatise, we refer the discussion of this matter to those places and restrict ourselves here to the following. According to the testimony of botany and biology, based on profound research, there is in the opening and unfolding of forms such comprehensiveness and artistry that other than a single and unique One absolutely powerful, able to see and do all things in all things, no one can understand this comprehensive and all-embracing deed. For this deed of the unfolding of forms demands a wisdom, an attention, and a comprehensiveness that are present at all times and are contained within an infinite power. This power, in turn, can be found only in that unique being who administers the whole cosmos. As is decreed in the above quoted verses, God's attribute of opening, expressed in the opening and creation of the forms of men from their mothers' wombs, within 3 darknesses, separately with equilibrium, distinctness, and order, without any error, confusion, or mistake. This truth of the unfolding of the forms of all men and animals all over the earth with the same power, the same wisdom, and the same artistry is a most powerful proof of God's unity. For to comprehend and embrace all things is itself a form of unity that leaves no room for the assignation of partners to God. Just as the 19 truths of the 1st chapter bearing witness to the necessary existence of God also attest to the existence of the Creator through their own existence, so too they bear witness to his unity through their comprehensiveness. Our traveler then saw the second truth in the third stopping place. The third truth, the truth of disposing and administering. That is, to administer with complete order and equilibrium both the awesome and swift-moving heavenly bodies and imperious interfering elements and the needy, weak denizens of earth, to cause them to aid each other, to administer them jointly with each other, to take all necessary measures concerning them, and to make this vast world like a perfect kingdom, a magnificent city, a well-adorned palace. Leaving aside the vast spheres of this imperious and merciful administration, since it is explained and proved in important sections of the risale-i Nur, such as the 10th word, we will show by means of a comparison a single page and stage of that administration as it manifests itself in the spring on the face of the earth. Let us suppose, for example, that some wondrous world conqueror assembled an army from 400,000 different groups and nationalities, and supplied the clothes and weapons, the instructions and dismissals and salaries of every group and nationality, separately and variously, without any defect or shortcoming, without error or mistake, at the proper time, without any delay or confusion, with the utmost regularity, and in most perfect form. No cause other than the extraordinary power of that wondrous commander could stretch out its hand to attempt that vast, complex, subtle, balanced, multitudinous, and just administration. Were it to stretch out its hand, it would destroy the equilibrium and cause confusion. So too we see with our own eyes that an unseen hand creates and administers every spring a magnificent army composed of 400,000 different species. In the autumn, an example of the day of resurrection, it dismisses 300,000 out of those 400,000 species of plants and animals from their duties, and they go on leave through the activity of death and in the name of decease. In spring, a sample of the gathering that follows resurrection, it constructs 300,000 examples of raising from the dead in the space of a few weeks with the utmost order and discipline. In the case of the tree, 4 such resurrections take place with respect to the tree itself, its leaves, its flowers, and its fruits. After showing spring to our eyes exactly like the preceding one, it gives each species and group in that army of glory that contains 400,000 different species its appropriate sustenance and provision, its defensive weapons and distinctive garments, its orders and dismissals, and all the tools and instruments it needs, with the utmost order and regularity, without error or slip, without confusion or omission, in unexpected fashion and at the proper time. It thus proves its unity, oneness, uniqueness, and infinite power and boundless mercy with perfection of dominicality, sovereignty and wisdom, and writes with the pen of divine determining this proclamation of divine unity on the face of the earth, on the page of every spring. After reading only a single page of this proclamation of one spring, our traveler said to himself, "The torment of hellfire is pure justice for those who commit the error of denying resurrection. For such denial would be to refute the numerous promises and to deny the power of one powerful and compelling, a wrathful one of glory, who has promised and assured all of his prophets thousands of times, and set forth in thousands of verses of the Quran, explicitly and by way of allusion, that he will bring about a resurrection and a gathering far easier for him than the thousands of miraculous gatherings that occur each spring, each more wondrous than the supreme gathering. His soul responded, "We believe in what you say."